Hello and welcome. You're watching our election special bulletin, Verdict 2017. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you. Well, after an under 60% voter turnout in the fifth phase of Uttar Pradesh polls, the focus in the last two phases shifts to eastern Uttar Pradesh that covers 78 assembly seats. So what are the chief concerns and the issues of the voters here? What are the political parties up to? What is their strategy? Well, we'll take a look in detail. Let's take a look at the headlines first. Campaigning for final two phases of Uttar Pradesh polls and two-phase polls in Manipur peaks. Rahul Gandhi's rally in Imphal. Akhilesh to campaign in Azamgarh. Over 57% voting in fifth phase of UP elections. Fate of 607 candidates sealed, counting on 11th of March. Congress approaches Election Commission, seeks FIR against Prime Minister, and BJP leaders over Haridwar rally, alleges they did not have the permission. And 7 national and regional parties form a third front in Manipur, promise to focus on providing corruption-free secular government. Well, our focus is on Uttar Pradesh and campaigning for the remaining two phases of elections in the state, and two-phased elections in Manipur has picked up momentum now. Well, phase 6 and 7 in Uttar Pradesh and the two phases of Manipur elections are slated to take place on 4th and 8th of March respectively. Well, today Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi will hold a rally in Imphal. BJP President Amit Shah will also address public meetings in Manipur. Now, 38 assembly constituencies will vote in the first phase for Manipur polls on 4th of March. Now, 22 seats will vote in the second phase on 8th of March. Well, the state has a 60-seat assembly. Meanwhile, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav will be holding a marathon 7 rallies in Azamgarh that goes to vote in the 6th phase along with the 48 other constituencies. Well, 40 assembly constituencies vote in the 7th and the final phase of the state polls. Now, BSP Chief Mayawati will also be holding rallies in Mau and Ghazipur today, and counting of vote takes place on 11th of March. All right, let's get a ground update. My colleague Sham Sundar is now joining us live from Azamgarh. Very good afternoon, Sham. With the two more phases of elections left, now election trail has now moved from western to eastern Uttar Pradesh. But the importance of Muslim vote bank remains intact even in these two phases. Minority votes are expected to emerge as a deciding factor.
Definitely, Aishwarya, if we talk about 2012 elections and if we look at the results of 2012 for Samajwadi Party and Congress alliance, it is a very, very important and crucial phase because out of 49 seats, this coalition got 31 seats. Samajwadi Party got 27 7 seats and 4 seats to the Congress. So that way, it is a very, very important phase for Samajwadi Party and Congress alliance. But if you look at BSP also got 9 seats in this phase, and many senior leaders from Samajwadi Party have crossed over to Bahujan Samaj Party. Mukhtar Ansari is there in the fray, and that way you cannot underestimate Bahujan Samaj Party in this phase of elections. As far as BJP is concerned, because if you look at 2014 Lok Sabha elections, BJP has done really well, though Azamgarh seat went to Samajwadi Party and Mulayam Singh Yadav retained that seat. But for Bharatiya Janata Party, it is very, very important to perform good in this phase if they want to come to the power in Uttar Pradesh.
And you mentioned about, Mukhtar Ansari, but, you are at the ground there in Azamgarh. Tell us, you must have spoken to the voters there. So how much of a sway really does a Qaumi Ekta Dal led by Mukhtar Ansari has in that region? Because it will be interesting to see how the electorate looked to this party's first breakup with the Samajwadi Party and then its late merger with the BSP.
Well, Mukhtar Ansari is a controversial personality for very long in Uttar Pradesh. He was with the Samajwadi Party, and there was differences between Mulayam Singh Yadav and Akhilesh Yadav on the issue of Mukhtar Ansari. And Akhilesh Yadav tried to create a perception that he is not going to compromise on the issue of probity in public life and politics. So he wanted to show that he is not going to compromise on the issue of inducting criminals in his party. But then Mukhtar Ansari has his own influence and mass base in this area, and he is considered Robin Hood for masses in certain areas, and he has his own kind of influence, and that's why Bahujan Samaj Party inducted Mukhtar Ansari, though at one point of time Bahujan Samaj Party blamed Samajwadi Party that Samajwadi Party is giving refuse to Mukhtar Ansari, but Mukhtar Ansari is an important factor in this area as far as electoral politics is concerned, and of course every political party is taking this fact into the account when they are going to the poll campaign.
Absolutely, and you also mentioned that one cannot really underestimate BSP. Now they have got Mukhtar Ansari in its fold, and it has now also got a fill-up with the regional outfit Rashtriya Ulema Council in its fold as well. So how much of that regional outfit really resonate with the masses?
Well, if you talk about Bahujan Samaj Party, in 2007 we have seen that Bahujan Samaj Party was estimated by the media, and every survey which was done in Uttar Pradesh, very few journalists were there who written that Bahujan Samaj Party is in the race, but silently Bahujan Samaj Party came to the power in 2007 in Uttar Pradesh, and this time also Mayawati is saying that her voter is silent, and she has a silent workforce on the ground which is working in favor of Bahujan Samaj Party, and most of the observers in Uttar Pradesh, they feel that as far as ticket distribution is concerned, Bahujan Samaj Party has done the best homework, and their ticket distribution is really good, and that's why BJP and Samajwadi Party, both sides are trying to show that Bahujan Samaj Party is not in the fray, and especially Akhilesh Yadav, when he speaks in his rallies, he tries to create a perception that Bahujan Samaj Party is there to cut secular votes, and that's why Bahujan Samaj Party was forced to say that even in the case of hung assembly, even if there is need, then also they will like to sit in the opposition, but they will not go with the BJP. So Bahujan Samaj Party has done its groundwork very well before the elections. Of course, it's a triangular fight, and it's a very crucial phase, and 11th of March we will know that whose strategy has worked, but history of Bahujan Samaj Party tells us that at times their voter is silent because it's a weaker section of the society, but they have a very solid mass base, and it can turn the tide in favor of Bahujan Samaj Party.
Absolutely. So obviously all the political parties are looking at the caste and creed equations, the Samikaran. But speaking on the ground, Shyam, now you are in Azamgarh. Now, what are the real big issues that the voters really face as far as Eastern Uttar Pradesh in general is concerned? Obviously, you have a lot of Muslim-dominated areas, but there are areas like Varanasi also. So what are the key issues for the voters here?
Well, if you talk about issues, encephalitis is a big issue here because health services are not good, and every year we see deaths because of this disease, and it's a continuous issue. And then unemployment is a big issue. Everywhere you go in Uttar Pradesh, in every constituency, there is youth which ask for employment, and they ask that what political parties are doing on this front. But ultimately, you cannot deny this fact that in elections, people are lined up on caste lines also, and that's why if you look at the election campaign also, or if you look at the selection of candidates, political parties also work on these lines, and they know that on the ground, caste, religion, everything matters. And we have seen, especially from Bharatiya Janata Party side, we have seen that their national leaders, whether it Prime Minister Narendra Modi or party President Amit Shah, they are talking that even development was done on the lines of caste and religion. Laptops were distributed by the Samajwadi Party on the line of caste and religion, and there is a effort to polarize the society before the elections. But on another side, Bahujan Samaj Party or Samajwadi Party, they also try to line up their vote base, and they also try to polarize their voters on caste lines. But there is a difference. Political observers say that Bahujan Samaj Party generally depend on the weaker section of the society, and Samajwadi Party, they depend on the OBCs. But in this elections, we have seen that in 2014, Bharatiya Janata Party has also allied with the smaller parties like Apna Dal and other parties, because there is a division between OBCs also. So of course, you cannot say that only development and concrete issues are discussed in these elections. Of course, issues are there, and for voters, these issues matter. But caste and religion and secularism and communal divide, everything is debated in these elections, and it is a very, very crucial and close triangular fight we are seeing in these UP elections.
Absolutely. So from Western Uttar Pradesh, and now the sixth and the final phase of UP elections are left, and the focus has shifted to the Eastern Uttar Pradesh, where obviously, apart from the issues that Shyam has mentioned, there are a number of caste equations that the political parties are also playing. So how will this strategy work? We'll have to wait and watch. Thank you so much, Shyam, for joining us and sharing that perspective with us. Meanwhile, leading the BJP's campaign, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed a rally in Mau on Monday, while calling the SP Congress alliance a sinking ship. He said that the BJP's alliance partners in the elections will be made a part of the government if it comes back to power. While UP Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav and the Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi also addressed separate rallies in Deoria and Gorakhpur. Now 14 districts are going to polls in the remaining 2 phases.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday addressed an election rally in Mau, which goes to polls in the 6th phase of polls on March 4th. Wooing the farming community, he said that it was a dream of his government to double the farmers' income by 2022.
14 दिन में गन्ना किसानों का बकाया भुगतान पूरा कर दिया जाएगा। आगे से नियम बनाया जाएगा कि गन्ना किसानों को 14 दिन से ज्यादा बकाया बाकी नहीं रहना चाहिए, इसकी व्यवस्था कर दी जाएगी। भाइयों, सरकार ऐसे चलती है। हमारा सपना है 2022 तक हम हमारे किसान की जो आमदनी है, उसकी जो कमाई है, वो डबल करना चाहते हैं, दोगुनी करना चाहते हैं।
Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi targeted the Prime Minister in his rally, asking why he could not waive off loans of farmers. Gandhi addressed multiple rallies across the districts of Deoria, Maharajganj and Gorakhpur.
नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने 50 सबसे अमीर परिवारों को 1,40,000 करोड़ रुपए माफ किया।
UP Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav was also on the campaign trail as he addressed voters in Deoria and later in Gorakhpur. He continued his tirade against his opponents, mainly Prime Minister Modi and BSP Chief Mayawati.
बहुत सुनी हम लोगों ने मन की बात, ये रेडियो पे मन की बात, और रेडियो के बाद आ गए टीवी पर मन की बात। बताओ कोई समझ पाया है उनके मन की बात? और हम समाजवादी लोग पूछना चाहते हैं प्रधानमंत्री जी से, कब करोगे काम की बात, ये भी बताते जाओ।
The BSP chief, on the other hand, sounded confident of winning the state as she warned Samajwadi Party and Congress of a tsunami against them.
विरोधी पार्टियों द्वारा मैनेज किए गए मीडिया व ओपिनियन पोल एवं सर्वे आदि में भी जबरदस्ती की अपने अपने पक्ष में हवा बनाने वाली इनकी खबरों से भी ये लोग गुमराह नहीं होते हैं, तो तब फिर इस चुनाव में बीएसपी को अकेले ही अपनी पूर्ण बहुमत की सरकार बनाने से फिर यहाँ कोई भी ताकत रोक नहीं पाएगी।
2 more phases are left in the 7-phase polls in UP. These will be held on March 4th and 8th, with counting on March 11th. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And earlier, the 5th phase of polls in Uttar Pradesh saw a voter turnout of 57.3% till 5 p.m. on Monday, while the percentage is expected to touch 60. Now, voting was held for 51 seats across 11 districts, including 5 districts bordering Nepal. As many as 1.84 crore voters, including 96 lakh women, will decide the fate of 607 candidates in the fray.
Amid heavy security arrangements, over 1.84 crore voters exercised their franchise to decide the fate of candidates on Monday. The 5th round of polling was held across 11 districts in Uttar Pradesh, including 5 bordering Nepal. Polling was slow in the first few hours but picked up pace gradually.
At 5 p.m., we were clocking 57.36% and counting, which we feel might go up to 57.36%, might go up to 60.
Seats in the Gandhi family stronghold Amethi and the temple town of Ayodhya are in contention. Other districts include Balrampur, Gonda, Faizabad, Ambedkar Nagar, Bahraich, Shravasti, Siddharth Nagar, Basti, Sant Kabir Nagar and Sultanpur.
बाबरी मस्जिद और मंदिर लेके लोग खाली बवाल करते हैं, इसलिए हम लोग नहीं चाहते कि ऐसा कुछ हो। यहाँ हमेशा शांति रहती है, लेकिन बाहरी लोग आके बवाल मचाते हैं इलेक्शन जीतने के लिए।
मैं तो यही चाहता हूँ, सबसे पहले हम लोग का हित हो, सब परिवार, पूरे परिवार ऐसे खुशहाल रह सके जिसमें किसी को बेरोजगारी या घर में परेशानी, घर में किसी चीज की प्रॉब्लम ना हो।
किसी प्रकार का तो विकास हुआ ही नहीं अमेठी में, और मेरे ख्याल से कि राजीव गांधी के समय में जो हुआ था वही हुआ है, उसके बाद तो कुछ नहीं दिखता है। यहाँ तो न शिक्षा के बारे में दिख रहा, न स्वास्थ्य के बारे में दिख रहा है, हमको किसी भी प्रकार से नहीं दिख रहा है। तो इसलिए तो विकास तो हर तरह से करना है अमेठी का।
Prominent candidates in this phase include controversial Minister Gayatri Prasad Prajapati from Samajwadi Party, who's facing Amita Singh of the Congress and Garima Singh of the BJP in Amethi.
5 साल में मैंने जो है जनता की सेवा की है और जनता पर विश्वास और भरोसा है, और निश्चित तौर से जनता जो है जिस तरीके से आंधी चल पड़ी सभी बूथों पर, एक गरीब किसान, मजदूर, नौजवानों सबकी दुआएं, आशीर्वाद है, और सब लोगों का एक सपना है कि उत्तर प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री अखिलेश यादव बनने जा रहे हैं और समाजवादी पार्टी की सरकार बन रही है।
मैं तो लड़ाई देख ही नहीं रही हूँ, मैं ये देख रही हूँ कि विचारधाराओं की लड़ाई है, और अमेठी की जागरूक जनता जो देश को प्रधानमंत्री देना जानती है, वो निश्चित रूप से एक योग्य काबिल नेतृत्व चुनने जा रही है और मेरी जीत होगी।
क्षेत्र में स्वयं घूम के देख लीजिए कि क्षेत्र में क्या विकास उन्होंने कराया है। अगर विकास होता तो जनता आज इतनी परेशान, इतनी दुखी, इतनी क्यों तकलीफ में रहती। तो क्षेत्र में कोई विकास नहीं हुआ है, कोई काम नहीं हुआ है।
The Election Commission postponed polls in Alapur after the death of SP candidate Chandrasekhar Kannoji. Elections will be held in Alapur on March 9th. In 2012, the ruling Samajwadi Party won 37 seats out of the 52 seats in the region. The BJP and the Congress won 5 seats each. BSP won 3 and Peace Party won 2 seats.
After a high-voltage campaign, it was a good turnout on voting day in 5th phase of UP elections. Most of the seats are facing triangular fight among BSP, BJP and Samajwadi Party, but Samajwadi Party has highest stake in this phase. With Panchanan Mishra from Bahraich, this is Shyam Sundar with cameraman Anirban, Rajya Sabha TV, Faizabad.
News from Uttarakhand now. And the Congress party has petitioned the Election Commission to register an FIR against the Prime Minister and other BJP leaders for holding an election rally in Haridwar, allegedly without permission from the poll body. Well, a delegation of the Congress leaders led by Ambika Soni and Uttarakhand Chief Minister Harish Rawat met the poll body demanding investigation into the use of crores of rupees for elections for the State Assembly. The delegation also urged the Commission to ensure that no postal votes are cast after the designated time of 5 p.m. in the Uttarakhand Assembly polls on 15th of February be counted. Well, the Congress delegation also pointed out that the EC had ordered the registration of an FIR against AICC Vice President Rahul Gandhi and others in connection with the delay in the roadshow which was carried out by him on 12th of February.
ये 10 तारीख की रैली जो आम सभा हुई हरिद्वार में, उसके लिए कोई इजाजत नहीं थी। प्रधानमंत्री जी की रैली थी, तो हम चाहते हैं कि उनको भी नोटिस दर्ज किया जाए उनका और FIR दर्ज की जाए, क्योंकि चुनावी मैदान में हम सब एक हैं। अगर राहुल गांधी और मुख्यमंत्री के नाम पर FIR या नोटिस होता है, तो क्या कारण है कि अभी तक FIR प्रधानमंत्री के नाम पर दर्ज नहीं की।
News from poll-bound Manipur now. A third front in Manipur is also fighting the assembly election against Congress and BJP to assert their identity. Well, this third front, formed of 7 national and regional parties, is trying its luck in alliance with the National People's Party launched by former Speaker late P.S. Sangma. Well, the front claims to form a left democratic front government on the lines of Kerala.
CPI and CPM are major partners of this front politically. Out of the total 60 seats, they are fielding candidates in 8, in which CPI has fielded 6 candidates and 2 have been fielded by the CPM. Their agenda is to rid Manipur of the allegedly corrupt practices of the Congress-led government and also keep the state away from communal practices.
With the kind of the situation here, so many ethnic tribes, then many other cultural language differences. It's a time for us to work together for a peace and peaceful coexistence, and looking into all this, we have gathered together like-minded people, because hill and plain divide now, people are working on how to divide hill and plain, all these difficulties. Manipur is going through really a very serious and critical situation.
We are open because we want to fight against these two ruling parties, one at the center and one at the state level. So this is why we wanted to form the this left and democratic front. I think in this juncture, most of the people, most of the electorates don't want this ruling party at the center and at the state level, because corruption is very high, and BJP, their communal agenda.
Manipur National Democratic Front, MNDF, is a major ally of this front that claims to represent both Meitei and Kuki community. MNDF is fighting on 14 seats and calls for unity and integrity of Manipur. It says that the Naga movement poses threat to the territorial unity of the state. While appreciating the need to create more districts in the state, MNDF leaders say that the state government should have done it after the elections.
Formation of the new districts. So the whole administration is totally collapsed. So now you may heard it also, this economic blockade. This is a very big issue of the state. The state government, this is not a question of a day. This is for the last many years. And it is a routine process. So state government is not keen to solve the problem till today.
In addition to this front, Manipur People Party, MPP, that claims to be the oldest regional outfit committed to the welfare of the state, is also fighting alone. In 2012 state assembly elections, MPP was in alliance with the BJP, but this year BJP chose to go alone. Still, the MPP has its traditional following and may influence voters. But it has an issue at hand, with the Election Commission granting it 2 symbols, the cycle and the petrol pump.
Still, there are some parties, excluding Congress and BJP, some parties are forming alliance, like JTU, CPM, CPI, NCP, and Trinamool Congress. But they are approaching us to join their alliance. But we say, no, you are coming from outside. if you belong to our state Manipur, yes, like that.
Aam Aadmi Party, NCP and People's Democratic Alliance are part of this front. The JDU had initially decided to side with this front, but later withdrew. 4 independents have joined the front to go against both the ruling Congress and BJP. PRJA, led by Irom Sharmila, was also in talks to be a part of this alliance, but later decided to fight alone.
They want to create left democratic front on the lines of Kerala. But in this polarized situation, on the issue of 7 new districts and economic blockade, where they will stand, it is a big question. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with Camera Person Sudhanshu in Imphal.
Well, staying with Manipur, and the Nagas People's Front in a statement on Monday evening said that the United Naga Council will oppose the Congress in the upcoming assembly elections in the state. Well, the UNC has continued its blockade of 2 national highways in Manipur since November last year, leading to a crippling effect on the state's economy. The UNC also asked all Nagas in the state to support candidates of the NPF. The NPF has 4 members in the outgoing assembly. Now, the UNC has imposed a blockade on NH2 and NH37 to protest against the state government's decision to create 7 new districts. Now, they say that this move would bifurcate their ancestral lands of Nagas in the state. The UNC has also criticized the Ibobi Singh government for the arrest of its president Gendon Kame, who was taken into custody on 25th of November in connection with the blockade. And our correspondent Akhilesh Suman spoke exclusively with the General Secretary of the United Naga Council, Milan Shimre, who said that the 3-month-long Manipur blockade has been declared to protect and defend their ancestral homeland.
You have declared blockade of these areas for last 2 months. What are the issues?
The issue is that the United Naga Council is here in order to protect and defend our ancestral homeland. In many previous years and previous problems, as and when the government of Manipur intends to upgrade some districts, the Naga people agitated against it, that without consulting the Naga people, no district should be created. This is the reason why the present imposition of economic blockade, including banning the construction of Trans-Asian Railways and national progress projects in Naga areas is going on.
So what are you not allowing to come in this area, and what are you allowing?
It is an economic blockade. Therefore, we block all the commercial goods carrying vehicles entering into Naga areas without the permission of the Naga people.
But Naga people are also suffering because of that.
Yes, the Naga people ought to suffer for its ancestral homeland. We ought to suffer. We have to defend our ancestral homeland.
But sir, this is the election time, and at the election time you have organized a blockade. So how will it impact?
No, election is something that will come every after 5 years. But ancestral homeland, once gone, it will be gone. Therefore, we don't prioritize electoral politics. We are to defend and protect our homeland.
That's all in our election special bulletin. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.